Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Ren. My pronouns are they, them, and I am a non-binary queer artist who focuses in watercolor, collage, and studying the tarot. Today we're going to be drawing our card from the Ethereal Visions tarot deck. I really like this deck. The artwork style is very like Alfonso Mucha, Art Nouveau, and the gold foiling on the cards themselves is really great. And so let's go ahead and draw our card. Okay, so our card this time is the Nine of Pentacles, or Nine of Coins. This card is a pretty good card to draw when you're reading the tarot. Something to keep in mind, coins are the suit of materiality and finance, and the element for coins is earth. So many of these cards are very grounded in nature, focus on tangible change and events. And then when we look at numerology with the number 9, it often represents the last bit of action required to fully meet your goals. So close you can taste it. It's like the penultimate card for the numbered minor arcana ace through 10. Traditional imagery of the Rider-Waite deck, as you can see, has a well-dressed woman standing in front of her garden, surrounded by 9 coins, and she has a falcon that sits on her outstretched hand, captured. Got predominantly warm colors in the traditional deck. The colors in the Ethereal Visions deck are warm as well, but a little bit cooler, a little less yellow, but the pastel nature of it still gives that kind of luxurious, positive feeling. For me, you know, the 9 of Coins, it means that you've worked hard to achieve the success and progress you've made, and you're almost there. During this time, it's letting you know to stop and appreciate what you've done so far. This is also a card of luxury and material wealth. Financial independence is a big one for this card, which is something that I'm striving towards. You know, I pulled this card a few months ago, so this video is a bit late in the making, but it's the first card I've drawn that wasn't in the suit of cups. And so since then, I have made a lot of growth in my personal and professional life. I've moved into my studio space outside of my home, turned the room that was my studio into my own bedroom, and decorated and continue to decorate that room exactly how I've always wanted, which I've never had the luxury of doing. And so let's go ahead and get started making this card. So I selected some images already that I kind of liked. I have this image of the woman in a yellow dress. I think that kind of calls back to the original card really well. And now I'm just trying to decide on a background. I have a couple really good options, but I'm going to go with this wildflower field. It contrasts really nicely with the yellow of her dress, giving it those purples. And then it has that same kind of warm color palette that the original card in the Rider-Waite deck does. And so now I'm just going to cut her out really quick, using my X-Acto to get some of those details. And then I realized I accidentally cut the nozzle of the watering can off, and so I'm going to cut that out so I can reattach it later. I like the watering can. I think it calls to the original card with her caring for her garden, and so this idea that you're not quite completely finished, and you know, there's still a little bit of work to do, but you can enjoy what you have so far. Now I'm just cutting out her hawk or falcon, so the raptor that will be in the card with her. The figure that I found that I really like, you know, her arms aren't outstretched. I think that's fine. I'm just gonna put that hawk on her shoulder instead. So I'm trying to figure out the placement. And sorry for the glare on this, you guys. And I'm just going to trim down my image some. Alright, so now that I have my background in there, now I just have to figure out where I'm going to put my figure. I think in kind of the right side, in front of those, well, not in front, but behind the yellow flowers. I'm going to cut those yellow flowers out a little bit so that way I can stick her behind there to kind of integrate her into the space. ahead and place her in there. I'm going to use my tweezers to help me lift that, the flowers, kind of those regular cuts a bit more. And so I think that's a really great area for her. The yellow flowers with the yellow dress, I think, go nicely together. And they're different enough of yellows that, you know, she doesn't blend in too much. So I'm just going to tape her little feet back there so that way she'll kind of stay in position. And then I just need to trim the background down just a bit more so it fits better in on the base tape. Okay, so now to decide what I want to use for my points. So I was looking through a bunch of pictures and I came across this space book that had a bunch of different pictures of the moon, different kinds of moons, shapes, planets, things like that. And I decided for my suit of coins, I'm going to use images of the moon and planets and other round celestial elements as my quote-unquote coins. I really like the variety in this, and I think visually it'll be really stunning when it's done. And so here I just need to pick out 9 different moons, and I'm trying to have a variety of sizes and colors for my moons in this card. Okay, now that I've cut out my moons, it is time to play with placement. And while I really loved that big pink moon, I think it's going to clash too much with the pink in the sky. It'll just I think it'll take away from the image. And so I'm going to set that one aside and not use it this time, but maybe in a future Pentacle card, I will use that pink moon. And so I'm cutting out a replacement moon. I really like the different colors, sizes of these moons, especially the black and white moons. I think that contrasts nicely with the kind of super colorfulness of the background. And so now I am just going to try a couple different variations of placements with these moons. I really like the placement where the moons are kind of arcing overhead over top of the figure, you know, going from smaller to larger. I also really like the moons going off the page, or, you know, being tucked behind her or behind the mountain. And so we're going to try a couple different versions of that. right, now we're placing the last moon. I think that's the placement I want to go with. And so I'm going to go ahead and take all these moons out. This one I taped to the back, so I got to finagle it a little bit. And then we're going to start gluing it down. All right. So here I'm just gluing along the top edge of my background. This will just hold it in place instead of gluing the entire background down, because I do still have a couple different moons to tuck behind things, and so I don't want the background completely locked in, but this will just keep it in place and help keep things from moving around. So we're going to go ahead and start putting down our different moons, trying to remember how I had it. That is one of the bad things about filming, as I do this with my phone, because usually with collage I do like to take a photo of the final setup that I decide to go with, and that way I can reference it when I'm putting down the elements to glue them. But I think, you know, overall I think this turned out really great. I really enjoyed making this collage. And last but not least, we got to add that little spout to our water can back on there, and then I think we're pretty much done. I hope you guys enjoyed this collage. I know I did. I would say it's one of my favorite collages I've made so far. I just really love the colors and the overall vibe of the piece. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, when the 9 of Pentacles or 9 of Coins pops up in your reading, it is a good thing. It means that you're almost there, you've almost made it. Now's the time to enjoy a little bit of the things that you've earned so far. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If you enjoy this content, please like and subscribe. Again, I am going through the tarot deck one card at a time, and hopefully eventually will be making a deck of my own with these collages.